Hi, this is Paul Evans, and welcome to Prime Power. I'm super excited about this series because you can build a strong and confident business. I'm sick and tired of seeing so many people online feel like, they just can't get it all together, can't get all the pieces together, and it's really not that difficult. And that's what this very first lesson is all about. Is I want to convince you that it really does not take a lot in order for you to build an incredibly strong online business. Now think about what it takes to really get fit. Now, my background is actually in fitness, even though I let it slide for about 15 years. I started out training at age 12. I was competing in bodybuilding contests and powerlifting contests by the time I was 16, and I had won several contests. And by my late teens, then in my early 20s or around age 20, I actually opened my very first business, which was a fitness center, because this is what my life revolved around. Now, I saw people come in and try to make everything so difficult and so complex when it came to getting fit, but it really does not take a lot. Here's all it takes to get fit. It takes a few exercises. You don't actually need a gym full of equipment. All you need is a very few exercises. You could literally not join a gym at all. Though when I owned a gym, I didn't want anybody to know that. But you literally could do push-ups, sit-ups, some pull-ups if you get strong enough to be able to do just a few of those. Just squats using your own body weight. And that's about all you need to actually get fit. If you walked 3 times a week and then eventually started jogging a little bit, all you need to really get fit and to get tone. Now, you also just need a little stress. A little stress. You see, it doesn't do a lot of good to exercise if you're not putting a little bit of stress on your body. That's just like people who come online and think, well, I don't want to fail at all. Failure is part of the process, right? Well, it's the same thing in fitness. It's part of the process. A little bit of failure, a little bit of stress is actually going to make you stronger faster. It's not good to go in and stay in the gym 8 hours a day working out. That's not going to do you near as much good as a solid 30-minute workout, because once the muscles are stressed, then you need to go and rest and allow them to recuperate, right? And then finally, you need a small diet. You don't need to get crazy. You don't have to buy every supplement on the planet. You don't have to go to someone that forges this plan that makes sure that you're eating every 1.37 hours, 100 calories, etc. You can get these things so complex, it just gets ridiculous. And you're getting your blood measured and you're finding out what your micronutrients are. The truth is, if you just follow a very small diet, which usually is, exercise a little bit more and just eat a little bit less. But it's just common sense for the most part. Well, the same thing is true in business. And I want to show you how you can make money online, building your own business by keeping it simple. I guarantee you that most of the programs out there are so complex. I'm not even convinced that they're not designed to make people quit so they'll buy more stuff. That might sound a little conspiracy theory. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the training. But for the most part, this is all it takes to make money. And I guarantee you, you absolutely can do this. First of all, it just takes a few mechanics. So I'm going to look at these a little bit deeper in just a second. A few mechanics. Secondly, it takes a little audience. You do not have to have everybody on the planet. You do not have to have a gigantic list. A little audience will really help you out. And then finally, a small plan. Now, let's step back and go through each one of these, and then in future sessions, we're going to dive into these a little bit deeper than we're going to right now, because we want to forge all this by the time, you're really ready to launch and enter this new year with a lot of confidence, a lot of momentum. Okay, a few mechanics. This is all you need to run a successful online business. You need to be able to use WordPress. And I'm going to give you some videos that are going to allow you to do that. I'm not going to give it to you in this session. I'm going to give it to you in the next session. But all you need to do is be able to use WordPress, and you need to be able to have a way for people to pay you, and you need to be able to do things like write. It's great if you can make videos and make audios. It's great if you can get out there and do all these backlinking strategies that all the pros talk about, but it's really not necessary. If you can buy a domain, use WordPress, and have people pay you, say through PayPal, guys, that's it. I can certainly make it far more complicated, but that's all that's really required if you want to make money online. If you want to make it complicated and you want to try to get all these different softwares going and all these different tracking elements going, and you want to get in, so far over your head that you feel like you're doing something, well, certainly I can help you out with that too. But for the most part, it really just takes a few mechanics, and anyone can learn this. Anybody can learn the skills, the few mechanics that it takes to make money online. Anybody can do it. I'm sure that there's been some of the technology that's been overwhelming at times, and you feel like I'm just not going to get it, or how am I going to ever learn HTML? You don't have to. That's the cool thing about a business right now. You don't have to know any of the things that you had to know just 5 years ago. And I think it's just going to get easier. But it's so simple right now that anybody can do it. If you'd asked me 5 years ago, can anybody make money online? I would have thought about the mechanics alone and just said, I'm not sure. I'm not convinced it's possible. You literally can do it today. So, mark that down. And you don't have to know everything, just a few things. Secondly, you just need a small audience. You don't have to have a gigantic list. If you have just a few hundred people on your list that pay attention to you, that listen to you, that's all it really takes. So you're not out there having to think about, how do I get this, 10, 20, 40, 100,000 member list. You don't have to have that. If you have just a small amount of people listening to you, it can make all the difference in the world. Let me give you an example. You think about church. I'm a church goer. I'm a believer, and I spend a lot of time at church. I actually lead worship at church. Now, if you have a congregation of 500 people, what do you think their weekly budget is in a church? It depends on where you're living, right? Well, in our area, and we're not a high-income area, a 500-member church is going to have around a $10,000 to $20,000 budget a week. But let's just say it's 10. Let's say it's $10,000 a week off a 500-member congregation. And so if it's $10,000 a week, you're talking about around $40,000 a month. And let's just say, rounding up at just a hair, let's say that it's a $500,000 a year. Whereas most people I know feel like that if they could make $50,000 or $100,000 a year, not even $500,000, but $100,000 a year, they would, they'd be able to quit their job. They'd be able to do whatever they wanted. Often people are like, do you want to make millions and millions online? I found that most people don't really want to make millions. They just want to make around $100,000. Well, you can actually do that with a very small audience. You don't have to have a big audience to do that. You think about if you've got 100 people paying you $100 a month, you're there. Boom. 100. It doesn't take a big audience. You absolutely can do this. And you might be thinking, well, Paul, I don't know if I can get 100 to pay me 100. Well, can you get 500 to pay you 10 a month and make 5,000 a month? I'm guaranteeing you that is not really that hard. And we'll be looking at this more in the future. But I want you not to think about these overwhelming numbers. I want you to think instead about small numbers, because it's all it really takes. And then a little plan. Again, nothing complicated, something simple. And people will listen to you. You think about your family and friends alone. If you go see a movie and you feel like it's really good and they say, hey, how was that movie? You go, that was awesome. You got to go see it. 9 times out of 10, what do? They go see the movie that you recommended. So when you got these few mechanics down and you got a small audience that listens to you, Your little plan is simply to make good recommendations. Good recommendations. It doesn't matter if you ever create your own product or not. You could simply recommend products that you believe in, and that could end up making you a lot of money. Just simple, very simple little recommendations. So all you need is a little plan, a few mechanics, a small audience, and a little plan. Now here's what I want you to do. I want you to think about that over the next few days. I want you to think about how simple that is, and I want you to compare it to what you're currently doing. In fact, I want you to write a list of everything that you've bought so far, trying to make money online. And then out beside that list, I want you to put easy, complicated. And as you go down the list of everything that you've purchased so far, in light of what I've just shared with you, I want you to look at those products and I want you to put a check if by the product it's easy to do, or by the product it's difficult or complicated to do. What have you found? Have you bought products that were really assuming you already knew all the mechanics in order to do the product, and boom, you're hit with, wow, okay, this is crazy. This has gotten insane. I can't do all this. All right, so I want you to put a check by easy or check by difficult. So that's assignment number 1. Now here is assignment number 2. Assignment number 2 is to write down all the mechanics you already know how to do. So if you already know how to buy a domain, I want you to put a check by that. If you've already got a hosting account, I want you to put a check by that. If you've already got an autoresponder account or know how to use one, put a check by that. Write down every single thing that you know how to do currently. And for 80% of the people, you already know everything that you need to know to make money online. So how cool is that? Now, for those who may feel like, wow, I'm missing some things here. I don't know some of these things. I don't know really even how to get WordPress up. Well, I want to make sure that you go through these 2 exercises first. And then in the next session, I'm going to give you all the videos you need for all the mechanics that you need in order to make money online. Okay, is that fair? Are you willing to do these exercises first, though? Will you write down everything that you've bought and whether it's been easy and difficult? And will you write down everything that you already know how to do? So in the next session, when I give you the videos, some of you guys won't even need those at all. And others, it's just going to be like I've thrown a big life rescue buoy out to you. And you're like, man, I cannot believe that this is all there is to it, because it's really not a lot. It's all you need. Listen, you can build a strong business online. So don't give up your dreams. Don't give up your hope. Don't give up your belief. You may be at the end of your rope thinking, man, I'm just ready to give up, or this never seems to work out. It's going to. You can do this. And I'm going to show you how through this Prime Power series. Go do your assignment. I'll see you in the next session. Be blessed.